Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going someplace that resonates with me a lot. Now, whenever I was younger, I used to play softball, and I know a lot of you out there did as well. Today we're visiting the Arizona Softball Hall of Fame. Now, before we go on this adventure, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the historic building that this happens to be in, which is a part of the Prescott National Guard Armory. This was one of the first towns in Arizona to have a National Guard unit. In fact, companies B and C of the 1st Territorial Rifles were organized right here in 1865. However, by 1980, this building no longer was needed for a National Guard unit, so it turned into a municipal building, which now has an activity center, and just beside it you can find park with tennis courts, a skate ramp, and also a field over here. But inside this building is where we're going today because we have some softball fun to see. Oh wow, guys, you can see this is still an active area that they can use not only with the stage but also a basketball court for youth sports. Super cool. But we are on our way through this building and down a set of stairs to the Arizona Softball Hall of Fame. Okay, I made it here, and then it has a sign that says we go across the way to the Parks and Rec office located past the gym. This is why I enjoy taking a little bit of time to kind of explore these areas, because we learn a lot and it's really fun in doing so. So we're off to the Parks and Rec office. Here it is, right here. Okay, here we are. Now, this is a smaller museum and it's also very niche, so I understand not everyone's going to be as excited as I am. But let me tell you my story about softball before we explore some of these famous names. When I was young, I played softball. I started out in the little kids leagues, and then I went all the way up into high school. Now, whenever I did, I belonged to a team called the Ninja Turtles. That dates me right there. I know, but we were such a good little group, and we had a really good time. I remember playing and just having such joy doing so, and it always brought me this sense of camaraderie. See, I'm an only child, so this gave me an excuse to get out there and do something fun with friends, and I really appreciated the opportunities that it gave me, not only to have those friendships, but also to get out there and do something that seemed to matter at the time. As I continued to play throughout junior high into high school, I wasn't always going to be the best player on the field, and that's okay, but at the same time, it made me have to really focus on the things that I wanted to work on within me each time I'd go to practice. And so I built a lot more confidence, and then also have some really great friends as a result of it. I actually played on a traveling team as well, and that was super fun. But that brings me to a respect level for anyone who participates in softball, because I know that it's a thankless sport a lot of times. See, on the women's side of things, they don't make very much money when they go professional. Even if they're an Olympic athlete, most of the time they have a regular, normal job because pay is not great for women in sports. However, these people do it because their dedication and their love for what they do. And so I wanted to come here and honor them. Now, it seems each section has a sign to tell you what it is, and then you can see the various plaques and people who have participated. This is the charter members area, and you can see there are a handful of people here, including a few very interesting men. So let's find out why the men are in the Softball Hall of Fame as well. It looks like each one of the plaques tells us their accomplishments, and in fact, this man right here was considered to be one of the greatest umpires in Arizona softball history. And right as we sign in, there's this woman right here, the 1974 inductee, Dot Wilkinson. She was one of the charter members as well, and you can see she is very lovingly displayed right here. And even in the book, it says, "Rest in peace, Dot Wilkinson, in our hearts forever." So let's find out what Dot did. Oh my goodness, Dot is an amazing lady. In fact, it says here she's largely considered one of the best female softball athletes of all of Arizona of all time. Wow. But she went on to do a lot of other things. Let's read a little bit. Not only was Dot good at softball, but she was apparently an amazing athlete in all that she touched. And she went on to contribute largely to maintaining the Phoenix PBS Ramblers. And believe it or not, she played 33 seasons. That is insane. Dot also went on to play in 27 national championships and was considered to be a 19-time All-American. Now that is one strong woman to do all of that, but she is just here in this first gallery, and we have a lot of other people that I'd like to touch on. Again, I'm not going to do every single one because I want to leave something for you all, but yeah guys, this is amazing. The stories that are told throughout each one of these plaques, each piece of history, wow, guys, wow. I also found this to be interesting. This is the grand opening of the museum itself. It was opened May 27th, 2006, and you can see a familiar face in many of these pictures right here. This is actually a face that was on the founder's wall. Let's go check out her bio. In fact, this is Rose Mofford, and she was considered an outstanding player in her own right. She has been one of the driving forces behind softball in Arizona as a whole, and she is the organizer of this foundation. Now, Rose is originally from Globe, but she went on to play for a Phoenix team and actually participated in an exhibition game in Madison Square Gardens, which I think is just absolutely awesome. And it really is kind of putting things into perspective as to how the people with the passion continue the legacy on so that girls of today can have those opportunities that they might not have had in the past. Now, one of my favorite movies is A League of Their Own, and it kind of talks about how women in sports were kind of a taboo thing until the war, and then they needed something to entertain them, so they turned to the women to do it. But they didn't get treated the best, and they certainly didn't get treated like their male counterparts. So people like Rose and others have paved the way for all of us to be able to be here having stories of our own, and also to talk about things like Title IX and inclusivity. And I think that that's what's great. So that's why we're here today. Let's go check out some more familiar faces. Here we find Susie Para, and she was a 2007 inductee. She was a 3-time All-American at the University of Arizona. She was a member of the USA World Championship gold medal team and also the US Pan American gold medal team. And she was a member of the 3-time national NCAA Division I champions. I think that this is amazing to see faces like Susie's right here. We also find Paula Noel, and she was a pitcher for the Sun City Saints and also was an All-American selection 5 times. She's a member of the ASU Hall of Fame and pitched in 2 national championships. Here is Flora Bell Walker Davies, a 2006 inductee. She played outfield and also second base, and she was a member of the 1947 national champion Queens, considered America's most beautiful athletes. But I think that this part is more interesting. It's considered to be her accomplishment that she was a born leadoff hitter. And here is Miss Flora Bell Walker Davies whenever she was playing. Now, as we move into the second room, we find a variety of different kinds of things, including some jerseys, some of the actual hats that were worn, this guy right here, and a few other things. So I think that there's going to be something, especially in this case, that's definitely going to appeal to us after that last reference. But we'll get to that case in just a minute. I have a few other things I want to touch on. And because this is a lesser known museum, there aren't as many people who come here. So that's why I really wanted to sing the praise of every single person, not only on these walls, but also who has gone into the back end of this, making it happen. There is a National Hall of Fame that is in Oklahoma that I hope to go to one of these days. I just can't seem to catch it when it's open. We're gonna have to try a little bit harder on that one. I found this to be interesting. They have books upon books of all of the different inductees, and you can see them with their plaques, and then also kind of see what they look like now. And you can see there's a camaraderie amongst these women as they come together to celebrate not only their accomplishments, but the accomplishments of others. And they've also done a few other things that I think are really cool that are featured in here, including using that ball field that we were talking about to highlight all of these accomplishments. And this is just super cool. This goes on, and you can find all sorts of really cool women in here. And also, you can find this. This is actually one of their reunions that they did. I think that this is what really makes this place special, because it's local and they all know one another because they're all connected through this special thing of softball. Now, because this is a Hall of Fame, but also from the foundation, they do recognize local faces who are also men, like that umpire. And I think that that's okay. We can share in our thunder, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And in order for us to make a better tomorrow for the future generations, working hand in hand is super important. So along this wall, we'll find several different men, but a few more women, and I want to highlight those women, because let's talk more about women's voices here in the United States. I think we need to, especially those who are outstanding. At the same time, I'm not taking away from the accomplishments of those men, because wow, some of them have a laundry list of accomplishments as well. And I'm just going to leave those for you guys to explore as we go on our continued journey of emphasizing these strong women influences, because I know that without them, I wouldn't have ever had the sport that I came to love, and many of the other things. This lady right here is Sandy Peterson. She was a 2012 inductee, and as you can see, she played for 21 years, including being a member of the Copper State League championship team. She was voted to the Copper State League All-Star team. She was a member of the Dadette softball team in the 50s, and then also she played on the first female softball team in the Prescott area at age 13. This woman right here not only played softball, but she coached softball. In fact, she was a 2014 inductee and coached for 37 years, including elementary and high school. And she went on to coach adults as well, because she was a member of the 1977 Sun City Saints coaching staff. She also managed and coached a junior Olympic softball organization, which is huge. This woman right here, a 2012 inductee, was a pitcher, an All-American at UCLA, a 4-time All-Pac-10 team player, and then also went on to be All-Pacific Regional Team, 6-time Pac-10 Pitcher of the Week, and played professionally for the Italian Peanuts and the Tampa Bay Fire Sticks. Darlene Spiva played between 1954 and 1981 and had All-State honors 9 times. She also was an Arizona Softball Foundation Player of the Week in 1977. She was a part of the Arizona State Tournament All-Stars 3 times, and she was a winning pitcher in 459 games. Noni Land Thomas was called the real hustler. She was a star second baseman and leadoff hitter and base runner, and she was a member of the National Softball Congress Champions in 1947. She was considered an outstanding woman athlete and part of the Phoenix Union High School in 1944. Now this is kind of interesting because we have a lot of information about Annabelle Powell, and here we find a picture of her. You can see her with the red star, and then also right here you can find her again with the red star, and right behind her is her plaque. This says that Annabelle Lee Powell was an outstanding third baseman and outfielder between 1936 and 1941. She played in barnstorming tours with Allen's Queens around the nation. She was recognized numerous times through all tournament honors, and she was known as a powerful hitter with a lifetime average of .340. In fact, right below that, you can find some really cool trading cards with the various softball players, some more different portraits, and you can see uniforms have changed a lot over time. In fact, again, referencing A League of Their Own, you might have noticed that whenever a certain part of the movie happened and they were looking at their uniforms, they asked, how am I supposed to slide in that? Because they were very short. In fact, early softball players were somewhat sexualized because they were something that was out there for entertainment value. Even though they had a lot of skill and talent, a lot of times people only saw them as a girl in a skirt playing a sport, and that became problematic. Now, in more modern days, of course, the mimicking of the uniforms is more similar to that of the male counterparts. However, back in the day, some of those shorty shorts and some of those tiny skirts were not there for the women's comfort. They were there for the men's pleasure. And I think that that is just super wrong, but at the same time, oh, how far we have come. And that is a celebration in itself. Speaking of a league of their own, right here, we have a league of our own established 1992, and this is actually a license plate that was constructed at that time. This just says it all right here. A few more items from Annabelle Powell in here. She was a major contributor to this museum, and you can see it through many of the historic photos. I think that this is a great way to kind of not only show some of the women, but also one iconic woman that is very important to the museum itself. Susie Gaw played for the Sun City Saints and was an ASA national champion. She also played on United States Pan American team and was a first team all-college All-American for Arizona State University. Now again, I know this is a smaller video and I'm leaving a lot for you all. However, I wanted to highlight and touch on those important stories. I think that they're very important, and there's so many of them filling these walls, as you can see, that I encourage you guys to come out here. It is absolutely free and a good way to see something a little bit different when you're in the Prescott area, to read about some of the outstanding women and also men of the past. But as we depart, I'm going to leave you with a few images of some various things that I've seen around here that you might be interested in. Okay guys, we finished up inside. I picked up a couple of things for future adventures, and now we are off. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and putting together the pieces along the way that inspire us, that bring us joy, and that tell stories that can help the future is definitely that. Till next time guys, bye!